I sold this camera to buy a Sony, my beloved Sony a7C with the Zeiss 35mm lens, and I regretted it almost immediately. Not because the Sony was bad, it's incredible, but because sometimes what you really need isn't the most powerful tool. Sometimes you just need one that you actually end up carrying with you. Hey, what's up? I'm Alberto, I'm a photographer and video maker from Rome, Italy, and on this channel I talk about my love for photography, without so much bullshit. No gatekeeping, just honest experiences about the gear that I love to use every day. Today I want to talk about the Panasonic Lumix GX85, also known as GX80 in Europe. Why it reignited my passion for photography, why I was stupid enough to sell it, and why I ended up getting it back. But before getting started, make sure to press the subscribe button so you don't miss any more videos of me rambling about how cool it is to take photos. Before giving you more information about this camera, let me tell you a story. This story is about why this camera completely changed my life. Because this camera took me from, damn, I love taking photos, to, damn, I could actually do this as a full-time job. This story starts 3 or 4 years ago. In that period, I decided to get back into photography after 10 years without touching a single camera. Yes, 10 years. In fact, I started taking my first pictures when I was around 15 or 16 years old with an old point-and-shoot Lumix camera. Then my parents decided to buy me an old Canon Rebel. I used that camera for every sort of shooting: family portraits, nights out with friends, live concerts, a ton of live concerts. But then suddenly I decided to stop shooting. Why? Well, all because I have received some negative feedbacks from people I thought were friends, whom I believed to be way more able and capable than me. People that constantly deprecated what I did. And being someone with very little confidence in my own abilities, I decided that maybe they were right. That perhaps it was useless to waste my time on photography. Then I decided to get this tiny camera. The GX85 came into my life, and something clicked. No pun intended. But enough for story time, let's get back into the camera. So, let's start with the basics, because not everyone knows this little camera. The Lumix GX85 or GX80, depending on where you live, is a micro four thirds mirrorless camera made by Panasonic. It was released in 2016. We're talking about a camera that was released 10 years ago, and in my opinion, it's still a great camera that is worth talking about. It has a 16 megapixel sensor, which is more than enough. It has a fully articulating touchscreen, which is great for when you shoot from a hip. But the first thing that I did with this camera was to turn off the touchscreen, because I hate touchscreens on cameras. And the body itself, depending on which lens you're going to mount on it, it's pretty compact. Enough compact to fit inside a jacket pocket or a sling bag. Or honestly, just carry in your hand all day without your wrist to giving up on you by noon. But here's the thing about small cameras like this. People underestimate them. And this one in particular has many features that punches so far above its weight class. It almost feels unfair sometimes. One thing that I particularly love in this camera is the IBIS. I know, every modern camera has a decent one right now, but in my opinion, not like this one. The GX85 is one of the best IBIS I've ever tried, especially in this price point. And I say it while having shot a ton of pictures, both with the a7C and the a7 IV that I'm using for recording this video. The Sony stabilization is great, but not enough good in my opinion compared to this one. You can shoot in dim light, you can shoot one-handed while you have a drink in the other hand, and the footage, the stills, they will always come out clean. For street photography in particular, I think this is a game-changer camera. Now let's talk about glass, because a camera is practically useless without a decent glass on it. My go-to pairing with the GX85 has always been the Leica Summilux 50mm 1.7. Yes, that's a Leica lens. Yes, it's good as it sounds. On a micro four thirds sensor, a 15mm lens gives you the equivalent field of view of 30mm on full frame sensor. So with this one, you're close to the classic 28mm that everyone uses in street photography. The f1.7 aperture means beautiful subject separation, even on such a small sensor, and the rendering has a quality that it's hard to put into words. It's not clinical, it's not harsh, it just makes things look good, in my opinion. It has character. When I first got the camera, I was using the Panasonic Lumix 20mm 1.7, I think, which is another fantastic option for this system, especially because it's a pancake lens, and it's available for very little money on the used market. The Micro Four Thirds ecosystem is one of the best kept secrets in photography right now, precisely because the system is considered outdated, which means lenses that were $400 new are now sitting on second-hand market for maybe $100. But it's something more that I almost never hear people talk about this camera. The built-in flash. The built-in flash on the Lumix GX85 is excellent. And I mean that seriously. I love hard light photography. That raw, high contrast, slightly overlit look that you get from direct pop-up flash. It's the aesthetic of those photos that feel like they were grabbed from real life rather than composed. A lot of photographers look down on built-in flash, and I think that's a huge mistake. On the GX85, the flash is powerful enough to be actually useful, and it syncs very well with the whole system. Some of my favorite shots from the last 2 years, birthday parties, walks at night, were taken with nothing more than the camera, the Leica lens, and that built-in flash popping out. No external flash, no modifiers, just react to the scene, point and shoot. But why I ended up selling this camera if I like it so much to fund my Sony A7C? Well, in January 2025, I decided to sell the GX85. I needed to fund a full-frame camera for my client works, and the A7C on paper sounded like the best option. Compact, portable, with a pretty cool aesthetic that I love. But almost as soon as I sold the Lumix, I started missing it. Not because it's technically superior, it is not, absolutely, but because it filled the role that no professional camera can really fill. I truly call this one my battle camera. One that I take when I generally don't care if it gets scratched, bumped, sat down on the dirty floor, or crammed into a bag under some jackets and socks. It's the camera that I actually bring to things, because I'm not stressed about it. And that's the real thing that nobody tells you about expensive gear. Sometimes the psychological weight of owning it stops you from using it. With the GX85 I have none of that, and I end up coming on with photos that genuinely capture how that day felt like. That's priceless to me, literally. And that's why I decided to get it back almost 2 years later. So, who should actually consider a GX85 in 2026? Honestly, a lot of people. Every time someone asks me, Alberto, which camera should I get as my first decent camera? I always say the GX85. It's cheap, it's rugged, it's durable. If you're a beginner looking for its first real camera without spending a fortune, this is a great entry point. The image quality is more than capable, the ergonomics are great, and the lens ecosystem is rich and really affordable. On the other side, if you're an intermediate shooter who wants a second body for casual use, let's say you want an X100 or a Q3 but you don't have the budget, this is a great alternative in my opinion. A camera that you can really carry every day, without the anxiety of breaking it that you might have with a more pricey X100 or a Q3. And if you're into travel, street photography, or documenting your everyday life as I do, this thing will follow you everywhere without complaints. The GX85 reminded me of why I fell in love with photography in the first place. Not because it produces clinically perfect photos, but because it's a lot of fun to use. Because it's always there. Because it disappears into your life and quietly captures it. If you made it this far, genuinely thank you. I know gear talk can go sideways really fast, but this one felt personal and I'm glad I had the opportunity to share it. If you ever ended up selling a camera and instantly regretted it, drop it in the comments. I have the feeling I'm not the only one in here, and I genuinely love to hear your story. And if you're new here and you're into photography, gear talk, and occasional videos of me wandering around Italy looking slightly lost, hit subscribe. No pressure, hit subscribe please. Please, I beg you, please subscribe, because I think you'll enjoy my content. With that said, thank you for your time and see you next time. Ciao!